We had Kyler on at the very end of the show yesterday. We were able to replay the interview for you earlier, but obviously if you didn't get to hear it yesterday or today, you can hear the podcast version of it. It's up on YouTube.
Yeah.
That was really good, Wolf. I mean, I don't want to keep touting it. I don't mean it was really good from our end. I mean, I thought Kyler was really good. I thought he said a lot of stuff that Cardinals fans probably want to hear, but I don't feel like he was saying it for that reason. I just feel like he was just answering the questions honestly, and they weren't 10-second answers. Most of these were minute and a half answers.
Yeah, I would agree with your assessment of that. Very, very impressed with Kyler Murray. Kyler, as a matter of fact. Mighty Kyler Murray.
We asked him about the importance of his leadership on this team now.
That's very important. It's very important. And not only just me, but I'm more of a lead by example type of guy. And obviously, people that have been around here understand that. But it's huge because this new culture that we're building, it's real. And when I say real, I mean like if you're not in line, like you don't. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're not in line, you're not going to be here for for long.
Mm-hmm.
And guys understand that. And when you build that type of culture that hold everybody accountable, sky's the limit. And I truly believe, with JG and what he's been preaching and what he's coaching, it passes down to me. It passes down to Buddha, James, Kazir, who are our leaders to preach the same thing. And like I said, if guys aren't willing to do the things necessary to fit in, not necessarily fit in, but we're all moving as one. And if you're not, if you get out of line, then it is what it is because we're all moving towards the same goal. So I'm confident.
The price of admission. That's what I just heard right there. Boy, he really focused on that.
He did.
But see, what's cool about that is the leadership, Luke. You need leaders to model your culture. We talk about this all the time, right?
With how bad it had gotten for the Cardinals in 2022 when they made all the changes, and again, Michael Bidwell ate a lot of money to change GMs and coaches. That was the biggest the biggest just weight if you were following the Cardinals in 2022. Like it was just hanging over the season. Was like, man, this is not going in the right direction, and these guys are signed forever. And that was the unknown, is like, will he really eat the money to make a change? Well, he obviously was motivated to make a change because he ate the money to make a change. But, if you do that, put yourself in the owner's position for a second. If you do that, you're not bringing in the same culture. You're not like, hey, I just spent all this money. Let's bring in another coach that's kind of like this and another GM or whatever. Not to blame it all on Cliff. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if you're going to make the change and you're going to invest that much money, you're going to make sure it's different. And when you bring in Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort, it's different. And to your point, if I'm Jonathan Gannon, I'm walking in, who do I need to buy in for this to work? I need James Conner.
Yeah.
I need Buddha.
Yep.
More than anybody, I need Kyler Murray to buy in. And it sounds like Kyler bought in almost instantly.
Hard. Just saying right now, when you stop and think about it, leadership, how important it is to culture. Leadership and culture and leadership. You can't have one without the other to make it work. If you want it to work, if you want culture to really settle in, you need your leaders to buy in, and you need your leaders to actually model that. I listen to Kyler sit there and say the culture here is real. I love that because a lot of people, they think of this pie in the sky, the culture.
We didn't bring up the culture there either. Not that question.
No, not at all. It's real. It's real, and it's like a warm blanket to me on a cold winter's night because, again, it has to be. It has to be real. And I know what it looks like for leaders to model it and not model it. I know what it looks like, and the way that a leader, a guy that is recognized as being one of your leaders in the locker room, if he doesn't buy in, if he's not modeling that culture, this is the way we do things, this is who we are, man, it has a negative impact, a big time. That's why, I know we're not talking about the Suns, but when I think about some of the players, and if the big three, any of the big three, are not buying into somebody's culture, the damage it can do
it's a waste
to a team is bad. Yeah. Is really, really bad. So I thought that was interesting as well. And, if you're not going to get in line, said Kyler Murray, you're not going to be here. And that made me think of the price of admission once again.
And this team's had a lot of turnover, as you would expect. since 2022, but I do think of the guys that were here for that season because it was just such a trying, brutal season. Like, just such a, like, when does this season end? You all felt it. If you were a Cardinals fan, you were like, you know, it was like the one year I remember watching football and being like, I'd be cool if we just got to basketball. Like, this season can just end in 2022. So I think about the guys that were here then, and that is Kyler Murray and James Conner and Budda Baker. How great it is to have them in the leadership positions.
Yeah.
Because you can tell they don't ever want to experience that again.
You know what's awesome about what you just said in 2022? You were like, man, I can't wait. Get this season over with, right? I don't think I've ever had a season like that. Yes, I did, as a matter of fact. It was 2022, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that season right there, 2022. Because 2023, it was fascinating for one reason, and that was going to be this new culture they were trying to establish and the return of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I thought there was a lot to pay attention to last year. 2022, everybody was just so miserable. And, it
was miserable.
It was. Here, I got to play this too, just because I love the end of his answer talking about Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, man, I just know, you know, I was geeked up when we drafted him because you got Trey, you got James, Mike Dortch, and all the guys that we added, and you get a guy like that. You're never. I'm gonna say you're never, but I don't envision us drafting top 5. You know, you don't get an opportunity to get a guy like that. You know what I mean? And so, when a guy like that is hitting you in the face because the quarterbacks are gonna go, you know, to me it was kind of a no-brainer. Obviously, the best receiver in the draft, I feel like. And I'm very, you know, he had a great day today. You know, I believe he's going to go show it. Obviously, you know, we got to keep connecting and getting better. But just the talent that he is, it's natural. It's not. There's a lot of things that he does that you can't even coach. So it to me, it was kind of, like I said, it was a no-brainer. But just to add him in on top of the guys that we have is another, you know, that's another thing that guys got to worry about. Defenses have to worry about. They got to scheme for, or don't, and, you know, find out.
Or don't.
And find out.
You know what?
That was my favorite. Look, he gave a lot of very insightful answers, but that right there at the end, you have to figure out a way to stop Marvin Harrison Jr. for an opposing defense. And then you could tell, we were sitting there, he's like, or don't, and find out.
You know, that made me think of as well the first part of the season in September. I think there's going to be a lot of defensive coordinators, once again, that are just going to say, you know, prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it. Go ahead. We're going to stop this running game because the Arizona Cardinals, the one thing we know about the Arizona Cardinals, they can run the ball. Top 5 rushing team last year in 2023. And we all know the problems the Arizona Cardinals had with this team. And yet they were still top 5 rushing team, even when the defense knew they're basically going to run the ball before Kyler Murray came back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but this is why it's going to be interesting. They're going to come into games against the Cardinals offense and say, we have to stop James Conner and the Arizona Cardinals from running the ball. I know Kyler Murray's back, but we gotta keep him in the pocket, and we gotta stop the rushing attack. Now all of a sudden you have to wonder, how is that going to open it up for Marvin Harrison Jr., possibly on the edge, Trey McBride as well, using play action. I think the first couple of weeks, they're going to take that kind of approach. And then, if in fact Marv has a good game or a couple of good games, you're going to start seeing defensive coordinators go, okay, we've got to adjust our coverage to Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, it's funny to think as a rookie, he could really do, I don't want to say his most damage, but he could do a lot of damage right out of the gate because of what you just said. Other teams are going to have to say, well, yeah, he's great, but he's a rookie. We've got to focus on James Conner first and foremost, and that's what did he say? Cover him or don't. See what happens.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.